There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. All right, y'all, I'm being a little goofy. This is Mr. B, and that is a jazzy version of one of my favorite songs from a band called Led Zeppelin, and it's called Stairway to Heaven. But for now, let's give you a quick overview of the work that I posted, and I'll post this video here in a few minutes. So, in our first lesson, you will state your personal interests and demonstrate in terms of musical elements why you prefer some music over others. This is a standard, MURE 7.1. There's other stuff that's in here, but that's really the focus. So this week, our first week, we're going to go over the elements of music, and then it's all about you. I want you to introduce yourself to me. I want you to talk a little bit about the elements, what you learned, which things you like, what you think you like, and then you're going to tell me about your favorite song or a song you really like and an artist that uses some of those elements that we talked about, or that you read about, or that I spoke to you about. So, musical elements. A purpose of this course is to create an experience where you begin to notice musical elements and the sounds around you, and therefore gain a greater appreciation of music. 7, a magical number in the musical world. It's the number of white keys for the letters A through G on the piano. Those black keys are enharmonic. They have more than one name, but the white keys are just the 7 letters A through G. And there just happen to be 7 weeks that we're going to be talking about, and we have 7 musical elements by some conventions. They are rhythm, melody, harmony, dynamics, timbre, texture, and form. Now, rhythm can also really be considered an element of tempo itself. So rhythm refers to how the time is observed and controlled in music. It includes all the things such as like meter, like a metronome. And a metronome is a really good example of how beats are organized. That's really the topic, is beats come first. The beat is the part that is totally straightforward and regular, and then, or regular, like in the music reggae. Reggae is referring to a regular beat, that 4. Rhythm are all the changes within it. So let's say if we're playing Mary Had a Little Lamb, it's Mary, this is the beat. But the rhythm portion related to the melody is Mary Had. That's the rhythm element. Now, I'm big on the science side. You should also know that everything that we talk about in music can be related in terms of frequencies, cycles per second. And one of the coolest ones you should know about is something called Schumann's resonance. It's the actual resonance of the Earth's magnetosphere, and it happens at about 8 hertz. It's one of the lowest bass frequencies we can experience. Now, melody is related to rhythm. Melody lines have a rhythm to them because they're not just straight on the beat. They can be on the beat, but generally the fact that they're not is what makes it more rhythmic. A melody is a rhythmic line with pitch. And specifically, we're talking about the highness or lowness of a note. Middle C, the C in the middle of the piano is called C4. It vibrates at around 262 cycles per second. That's 15,720 beats in a minute. Remember, a cycle is one time around something, right? And when you do that, that creates a beat. Like if you put like a little card on a wheel and you spun it around once, every time it comes around, it's going to click. That is a beat. That is a cycle. Also, you should know that our government actually defines A4. That's the A above middle C. That was that same, related to that same A that I was playing before, is 440 hertz. The one I played is 55, which is about a fourth of this, right? Actually, 1/8 of this. Harmony. Harmony is when we've got 2 notes being played at the same time, as in like a musical chord. Notes that are lacking harmony, you can sort of feel like a beat. So if I have 2 notes, and let's say here I'm going to play, this is my A again. This is an A. This is an A. Hear the beats? They're actually slightly out of tune. As you bring them more out of tune, you can feel those beats coming in. So beats suggest sometimes that there's actually a lack of harmony. And yes, we're confusing terms. That means polysemous. We have one word that means many different things here. Dynamics. Dynamics describe the loudness or the quietness of something. What's fun about this more than anything else are the word piano, the big device, actually just means soft, because As an invention, it was the first time that you were able to actually push a pedal and mute the strings, whereas devices previously, the strings just rang. Forte, again, it means loud here. And just as a joke, if you have any friends that are really loud, you start calling them, hey, Forte, what's up? Timber. Now, tone color is another word for timbre. Notice the spelling here is not ER, it's RE. And timbre means that two people singing the exact same note, it's going to sound different. If I sing A4 and another person sings A4, even though we're singing the same pitch, it's going to sound a little different because, I might have a scratchy throat or it might be someone taller than me, right? A way to remember this mnemonically. Remember, mnemonically is a memory device, a way of memorizing something. I want you to imagine Justin Timberlake singing around a lake with all sorts of trees, and the trees are falling into the water, and each one is making a different splash. Now, even though they are all generally making a splash, they're all making a different sound. Now, felling is the process of cutting down an individual tree, and a logger who cuts down a tree is sometimes called a feller. To warn others of a falling tree, good fellers shout, "Timber!" So just remember that Justin Timberlake is a good feller. Texture. Now, texture in a piece of music refers to the number of different musical lines that it has. A common song has a melody line and its accompaniment. So when I was just singing there before on Stairway to Heaven, it's a melody line and it's an accompaniment. There are two melody lines, but the vocal line is truly considered to be the melody line. Typically, if there are lyrics, the lead melody line is following the lyrical structure. Not always the case, but generally. Now, only one person or one voice would be considered monophonic, one voice. Music is called a cappella when there's no instrumental accompany at all. Cappella used to mean, or still does mean, in the way of a church, which means accompaniment. And people who sing in harmony together without any instruments are called an a cappella group. There's a really popular band called the Pentatonics from 2011. There's 5 voices, which is why they use the prefix penta. And it's also a cool play on words because it's a type of musical scale called the pentatonic scale that at some point we will get into. Form. Now, form describes the larger organization and structure of a song. It's the idea that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, just like telling a story in language arts. You're going to tell me what you're going to tell me about, you're going to tell me, and then you're going to tell me what you told me. That would be kind of like an ABA format here. Popular music often follows another format called ABA-CAB or ABACAB. The Beatles exploited it. It kind of becomes formulaic. Talk to your parents a little bit about a song called ABACAB from a band called Genesis. I was a freshman in high school when this song came out. Now, an example of the type of response that I'm looking for from you for today, and I did already get one response from one of y'all. Thank you very much for doing the work. Here's an example. Hello, I'm Jim Bruce. I'm a musician, science guy, and my primary instrument is the electric bass, if you couldn't tell. But I also sing, you decide whether it's good or not, and can play just about anything. I'll be 53 in May, and I live in Camarillo, the Rillo, and I have a wife and 3 kids. Now, musical elements that I enjoy are varied. I like slow and dark brooding songs that are heavy in the bass. The theme music from the TV show Vikings really is cool. It's by a band called Fever Ray. It's insane. And I love techno sounds and science fiction sounds and all that kind of stuff. And then I also like really straight up traditional rock and roll, which is drums, bass, vocal, and guitar. And that last element is probably the easiest one to share because if I have a favorite song really ever or band, it's ZZ Top. My favorite album is called Tejas, which is Texas. And the favorite song in there is called Asleep in the Desert. And it's kind of the opposite of some of these things we were talking about a minute ago. It has no lyrics. It's just music, and it's slow and quiet. And it really does paint a picture as if you were asleep in the desert. And it's an awesome tune. And I will share it with y'all. Now, here is a rubric that would describe what I just did in the Queen Bee area. In your introduction, if you just stated your name, that does the job. Tell me a little bit more about yourself would be nice. And if you really know who you are, you know where you are, where you want to be, and what you're doing to get there, you can kind of tell. Musical elements. If you do the basics, you've described some sounds, but you really didn't convert it into vocabulary. Good work is you're starting to use the vocabulary. Yeah. And then Queen Bee is you've totally got it down. You obviously understood what music elements were and what you liked about them. And then the last is you provide a song example. Now, IDK is not a band or a song title, just so you know. Middle work would be that you've shared a song. but you didn't really pull out the musical elements. And then a great job of providing a song is connecting the song with the musical elements that you like. And so, just like I did here, uh, I connected with these musical elements that are bass, drums, guitar, and vocals. And that's exactly the type of elements that are there in that work. More details quickly about the standards. Um, in general, and a little bit about the syllabus, this class is really about connecting with others culturally and your preferences about music, responding like some of you have already done. We're going to do a little bit about creating music and a little bit of performance, but again, only enough to make sure you get some appreciation for what it is to make music. And this is the full blown set of standards. These are actually all the standards related to music in general. And with that, we're going to call it a wrap. If you all have any questions, give me a holler. I'm available pretty much 24/7. So holler.